Hi guys, welcome to our podcast. I hope you are doing well. I'm fine where I am. As usual, you are with Moholeza Rukumeta. And today I want to continue where we left in our first part where we talk or spoken about the new legislations relating to refugees, immigration and citizenship in South Africa. And today we are looking at clause 10 of the white paper, which was published by the Department of Home Affairs. And here we're going to discuss the things that they say, the reasons why the department thought it was necessary for them to change the laws, these three legislations. So they're saying that the first reason for that is that the Citizenship Act itself was already or is already outdated, and it's no longer relevant or it no longer relate to the South African that we live in today, and therefore it was necessary for them to change it. All right. The second reason is that all the three acts, the Immigration Act, the Citizenship Act, and also the Refugee Act, do not match with one another or they do not work in harmony, because if you think about it, according to them, these three laws work with one another. So if they do not work in harmony, then it makes life very difficult for them to make decisions. So those are the two reasons why they thought it was necessary to change those laws, these three legislations. So because of these two reasons, it was now difficult for them to implement them. All right. And because of the difficulties in implementing these regulations, it caused now some of the issue that they think what they called for them. They saying that because it was difficult for them to implement these three legislations, it was now possible for refugees and asylum seekers and also foreign nationals to acquire or to get the permanent residence document and also the citizenship prematurely and irregularly. Okay, so for me that does not make sense, because look, if you are a refugee in South Africa, if you are an asylum seeker in South Africa, you will understand what processes you have to go through, the offices you have to enter before you obtain even that permit of the asylum seeker permit, which is valid for 12 months, and the refugee permit, which is valid for 4 years, without even talking about the permanent residence and the citizenship. Because in South Africa, you have to be in this country for over 10 years, all right, before you can even think of applying for the permanent residence. All right. So I don't even know how long or what is needed to apply for the citizenship. Maybe it's after you receive that permanent residence, you can now start the process of citizenship. So when you talk about irregularity and prematurely, I don't understand, because you cannot jump those steps. You cannot jump, you cannot get the asylum seeker that's valid for 12 months today, and tomorrow you say that you're going to apply for a permanent residence. That will never happen. So you have to go from that asylum seeker of 12 months, go to the refugee status, which is now for 4 years, and then after you've spent over 8 years to 10 years, then you can apply for a permanent residence. So I don't think, in your reasoning, you can also help. Maybe my head is just spinning around, because do you think you're gonna get something that you've waited for 10 years, for 15 years? Do you think you're gonna get it prematurely? Because it is a process, and you have to go through all those processes before you can obtain it. So that one reason for me does not really make sense to me. And when you talk about issuing or getting or acquiring permanent residency prematurely and irregularly, who are you referring to? It's probably not referring to people like us, the refugees and asylum seekers, perhaps migrants. And here, if we talk about migrants, we talk about economic migrants, and not any economic migrants, my fellow guy who's coming maybe from Zimbabwe or Malawi or Zambia, who's going to have money to get these guys in the office and give them for them to get those documents. And if you remember, excuse me, when I was watching the minister's presentation of this white paper, the minister, His Excellency Mr. Aaron Moswaledi, he was talking about the example that he was giving. He was giving examples of the Guptas and the Bushiris, and those guys have money. Okay, those guys have money, and if you follow the story, we all follow the story. We had the story on the national TV. These guys, they got their documents through the Home Affairs officials. So they did not get them prematurely through the legal system or through the legal channels, but on the contrary, they got those documents through the official from Home Affairs through illegal and corrupt channels. And therefore, this is not a problem of implementing these three laws that caused those people getting those documents, but rather the corruption and the corrupt system and the corrupt behavior that is within the department itself. So for me, before you could start with changing the text that are in these three laws, perhaps the start should be first to strengthen the policies within the department to ensure that corruption is rooted out of the department before you can say, okay, now we don't have corruption in the system in the departments. We have all our systems are already working in a legal way that you can no longer have a room for corruption. If and then you can say, okay, what's not working now after we fix the corruption that is within the department? Then you can say, okay, maybe it's the text now. So that's how I think should be the reasoning behind the whole thing of trying to deal with the text rather than trying to find where exactly the problem is, which is within the department itself. And they recognize that there is corruption activity going within the department, but that reason they put it as the last reason among the reasons why they think it was difficult for them to implement the three laws. So the second reason why, the second reason or the second thing that happened due to the difficulty of implementing these laws, the department says, or the minister says, that because it was difficult to implement these three laws, and now it allowed criminal syndicates to develop and to take advantage of the refugee and asylum system and the immigration system. And I'm like, okay, still does not make sense. Because if we follow the crime that happened in South Africa, really, to be honest, I've never heard on TV saying that they caught people trafficking people, and those people who were trafficking the other people were refugees, or they were asylum seekers, or they were migrants, recognized migrants. I never heard that. The only thing I always hear when they talk about those kind of things, it's either they use illegal migrants, which means those illegal migrants, they are not yet in the legal system of being a refugee or being an asylum seeker. So I don't know when they say that they take advantage of the system. So yeah, maybe you guys are gonna provide comments. You're gonna comment on our podcast so that I can understand. Perhaps you guys understand this better. Okay. And then the other thing they say is that the current system, because they could not implement these laws coherently due to them not working in harmony, It also it's also the current immigration system and the Refugee Act and the Immigration Act does not provide a difference between the economic migrant and the asylum seeker. So that's the other thing that they are raising. So when people come to South Africa, you can easily claim that you are an asylum seeker. You're running away from war or from persecution in your country, and therefore you seek asylum in South Africa. Okay, so but they do not my understanding now, they probably do not investigate deeper to differentiate between who is a migrant, who is a migrant who's running away from home because he just needs or she just needs better opportunity in South Africa, or this is a genuine asylum because in their country there's war and therefore he or she was at risk of being persecuted in his own country and therefore can consider as an asylum seeker. So for them, I think the current laws do not limit to say that okay, no, this is a economic migrant. You must categorize him or he or her in this side on this side. And this is a genuine refugee. This is a genuine asylum. He or she is running away from war or persecution in his country. You must also put them on this side. So currently, the three laws do not provide that separation between the economic migrant and the genuine asylum seeker. And therefore, it's one of also of the reasons why they think it was necessary for them to overhaul the entire three laws. The other reason they provide is that uh, currently, let me just get that correctly. Currently, the enforcement and the implementation of these three pieces of legislations is weak and ineffective. Those are the words they use. And because the reasons for that, because yeah, so yeah, uh, so as I was saying, that is those are the reasons why they think it was necessary for them to change or to overhaul these three pieces of legislations. And look, guys, I'm not against changing the legislations, but I want to know that the change is based on the really issue, and once the changes are implemented, at least they'll bring about a change and better system that is working, that is effective. But if you do not identify really where the problem is, then you end up making changes that are unnecessary, that are not going to really bring about the change that you want. So that is why we're having all these discussions here, not to try to be against what the minister is doing or the department, but rather to critically look into the laws and the entire white paper so that we can also criticize some of these things and make our contribution so that when changes are made are really changes that are effective, that are going to bring about the change that we all need and that the department needs, and make the department work much easier, much effective, and make things easier for everyone who's involved in with the Department of Home Affairs. So, guys, as I said, you guys are welcome to comment, to suggest, and to provide us with more information because look, I do not create information from my head. I look at what is currently trending in terms of our community, migrants, refugees, asylum seekers, and I bring forth for us to discuss, and I hear your comments and what your suggestions and your opinion, and everyone's opinion is welcome. So yeah, and look, we still this is just close 10. The document is big. We're still gonna move for next time. Next time when we have a chance, we're gonna move to close 11, which the title of that is speaking about refugee protection. So we're gonna look at how the department intends to protect refugees under these new laws, and we're gonna go deeper into that. And it's not only that; there's so much things that are happening with the department and also things that relate to to migrants and refugees and asylum seekers. So, for instance, I know there's a story coming up on the 24th of May. One of the big organization that really defends the rights of refugees and asylum seekers and migrants in South Africa is heading to court with the Department of Home Affairs to defend the rights of asylum seekers who are being deported in huge numbers without being given the right to defend or to appear in court or to even appear to the Home Affairs to defend their case why they have come to South Africa, why they are in South Africa. So, for instance, if you are caught by the department and you have no paper or you are illegal, immediately you are taken to prison, and before you know it, you will be deported. So, as much as you want to get rid of illegal immigrants, but also you cannot just pick everyone because you find them without paper, without hearing them out, how they come, why they come. They might be genuine migrants, they might be genuine asylum seekers, but because they were not given the opportunity to defend themselves, they end up being victim of an illegal system that is being applied to them at the moment because the constitution, the laws of South Africa do not allow that to be done to those people unless they've been heard and their case has been heard by by relevant bodies or relevant institutions. So that case is coming, that story is coming. I'm gonna follow up with that story. I'm gonna bring it here. And also, a few weeks ago, the president of the Department of Home Affairs launched hundreds truck, and I'm talking about hundreds mobile trucks that are going to be processing documents. I'm talking IDs, birth certificate, death certificate, and passport. But guess what? That is only for citizens, not for people like us. As much as our cases are pending there, so much people, documents are lying in Home Affairs offices, not being processed, not being finalized. But hey, we do not have that opportunity to be given that kind of service. So those mobile Home Affairs offices are only for citizens. That story is also coming in the next few weeks. So keep watching, ring that bell so that when we talk about this story, you are the first to hear it. We're not just bringing any information, we make sure we bring genuine information, we follow the story, we get information from genuine sources so that we just don't bring you anything that is out in the streets. So, thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing you back on our channel and chat again very soon. Cheers.